Hey guys, happy Thursday. It's time for your primetime preview over here on WagerTalk. We got a loaded show today. We're going to break down this Thursday night football game, everything that you need to know going into this one. And I've got a great guest list tonight. Carmine Bianco coming in, as well as Sean Alvarez. And you guys, jump into that live chat. I want to hear your questions, your comments that you have coming. We got a lot of new members jumping in here, and happy to see that. But this is going to be a game where we saw that spread 3.5 to originally start for the Rams, all the way up to 5.5 as of yesterday morning, jumping up to that 6.5. And now there are some nines out there for the LA Rams. That total sitting right around 43.5, 44, depending on your books. Make sure you do go over and open your odds logic page so that you are getting the best of the numbers as we do go over this game. I'm so happy to break this game down as well. Seeing your comments there in the chat. If you guys are watching on YouTube or on X, make sure you do come over, if you're watching on Instagram or X, come over to YouTube so you can drop those questions, those comments in here for our handicappers. We will be going over all the props predictions of this game, but let's bring Carmine Bianco into the show, see what he's liking tonight in this Thursday night football game.
Hey everyone, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Joe, thanks for having me on. I'm listen, it doesn't matter who it is, even if it's like Miami and the Jets, like in prime time. Doesn't matter who it is or who's injured. It's football season, and we got something to bet on. I absolutely love it, and looking forward to it. Obviously, tonight's game takes. It's not as shiny as everyone thought it was going to be. Obviously, with Purcell out, with Purdy out, the injuries to San Fran, but they've been like a mash unit. It seems now, for the last 2 years for this San Fran team, and anytime they travel to LA, it seems like it's a home game for the 49ers because their fan base comes out, and they'll be out there tonight. You're going to see probably more San Fran fans at SoFi than you're going to see Rams fans tonight.
Yeah, I think you will as well. Now, this spread has got out of control, Carmine. We saw 3.5s originally on those opening lines. It was up to 5.5 as of Wednesday afternoon, with the thoughts there that it would be Mac Jones coming out for the San Francisco 49ers on confirmation of him, as well as those other guys out of the lineup. We did see this one shoot up, and it shot up so quickly. Nine's still out there. They're 8.5s as well. What do you think of the reaction of this spread? Is Mac Jones really that much of a difference maker out there? I don't think so far on the season.
It's you look at the line, and I get it. Everyone wants to bet the LA Rams tonight. I'm not going to make a case for San Fran here. I'm gonna end up giving you guys some prop bets on this game, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. The line at 3.5 was fine. And then obviously it's a short week for the Niners with those injuries, and you have Juwan Jennings out, you have Purcell out, you have Purdy out, and you're like, well, who's Mac Jones going to throw to? Well, Robinson got his first start last week. He'll be serviceable. You still have Christian McCaffrey. The line going to 4.5, and then 5, and then 6.5, and 7, and so on, to the point where it's at 8.5 and 9. The value is gone. If you were going to grab LA, I think you had to grab them early. At 9, you're betting the worst of the number, I have to believe, because the number was at 3.5. 5.5 points is it's a huge shift here. Mac Jones had 2 very good games, obviously, for the Niners in a couple of wins, and he can throw the ball. If he can find a receiver, that's the question that remains here, is whether you can find a receiver. The Rams are a very good team. Obviously, they come off of a couple games where you just look at what happened to them. Obviously, what happened to them in Philly is still. I'm still heartbroken by what happened to them in Philly with that blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown. But that's a sports better. That's the sports betting Bianco that's upset at them. I think grabbing 9 here is, or laying the 9. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to grab the 9 either, but it leaves so many backdoors. Unless LA comes out and completely blows them out in this game, the back door is going to be open going to the fourth quarter if the Rams are ahead. And you don't want to be on the wrong end of that. We've seen some nasty fourth quarter covers thus far this season. So I'm not going to lay the 9. I'm not going to take the 9. I will say this: I did take the Rams in Circus Survivor, so I do have that going for me, Joe. But Mac Jones can hopefully keep it interesting to say as far as the game goes, but it might just be garbage yards. If you're betting props and you're betting Niner props, it could very well be you're relying on those fourth quarter garbage receptions, fourth quarter garbage yards when the game's out of hand. It's just a bad spot, obviously, for the Niners with the injuries. But I think lane 9 in this spot, you probably want to, if you don't mind doing it, and I would do it all the time, is tease it with a Sunday game that you like.
Oh, I like that.
And make it easier. Take the 8.5 if you can get it. 6.5 point teaser or 7-point teaser. 6.5 is probably a little bit better. You don't have to lay the vig. Drop it down to 2s where a field goal still gets you the victory, and tease it onto something like the Indianapolis Colts, who are 7, or the Bills at home, who are 7.5. You can knock them down to 1. If you're dead set on betting aside, maybe teasing it might be the way to go.
Okay, if people are dead set, though, that the 49ers have a chance here, how much do you weigh in the fact that Kyle Shanahan has got the best of Sean McVay? He's been able to win 10 of the last 16 meetings versus these 10-5 in that regular season. So we do have the stronger coach, but with those injuries, I think you're right. I think this is a game where the Rams can get the win. I think your survivor pick is alive, but is there any recipe that you think that we could see the 49ers come out and be able to pull it off?
Well, I hope not, but it of course it's possible. You know, for you guys who haven't watched it, on Sunday we do End Zone Live, which is a great show. We just have different guests coming on throughout the 1:00 games, and we are sweating games. We let you know our plays before we go to air, and we are just going nuts. It's like guys busting each other's balls at a game at a bar. And one of the questions was from people asking is, can the Saints keep it close against the Bills? They were plus 15 or plus 16, and I talked about the Bills doing it to Minnesota a couple of years ago. You look at that game, and the Bills were never in a position where they were going to cover that game. Even in the fourth quarter, New Orleans stood tough with them. Laying the points just because it's a big favorite isn't the thing to do. And like you said, Shanahan has gotten the better of McVay in this one. It's a divisional matchup. It's just a bad spot for San Fran. If they had at least one of those two, Juwan Jennings or Purcell there, it would help Mac Jones a little more. Obviously, give him an extra target to go to, but I don't see it happening, but just never say never. We see dogs win. Dogs can win games. If it does, my survivor pick is down the tubes, but it happens.
It could happen.
So speaking of which, I want to talk about, obviously the Rams and Matt Stafford. So here is an interesting prop bet for you guys. And I was on the phone with Andrew McInnes a little earlier today as I was going over my prop bets and putting them in. And this one changed. The line on this one actually went up 3 times while on the phone with them for about 5 minutes. And it's Matt Stafford under half a yard rushing. Now, you would say to yourself, that is nuts for a quarterback to only be minus a half. He is now minus 150. And I'm looking at DraftKings and I see he's at 160 now. He was at 137 at the time that I put the wager in. Last year, 12-4, 12 of the 16 games, he was under a yard or less. The first 10 games of the season, he was either at 0 yards or he was at -1 or -2 yards because he's not a scrambling quarterback. He stays in the pocket. He throws it away. And then if they're ahead, you have those kneel downs where you have minus a yard 3 times in a row.
Painful.
3-1 this year. He had 4 yards rushing last game, and in the 3 previous games he had none, no yards rushing. So Matt Stafford, unless he scrambles somehow, I just don't see it. -0.5, and I wouldn't overpay on the VIG. If you can find any lower VIG at an off-screen book or something, I would take it,
Okay,
Joe. But
Carm.
that's such an interesting one. Yep.
It is. I love where you're going with that with Matt Stafford. I want to ask you a question on him before you go on to your other players that you're looking at for some props. Okay, so we look at Matt Stafford. I think he's playing the best that he's been playing of his career as of late. In the last 11 games, he's been able to have such a strong touchdown to interception ratio, 19-3, but he has thrown 2 interceptions in the 4 games this season. When we look at the 49ers, do you think there's a chance of them getting an interception tonight? Because Matt Stafford to throw, it's +115. And you look at the 49ers, do you know how many games it has been since they haven't got an interception? It is mind-blowing, Carm. It's 11 straight games without a defensive interception out there. That is tied for the longest streak by any team over the last 85 years.
Yeah, but that's San Fran. It's been a team, especially with Robert Salah as their DC, that has always been very good. Obviously, you'll have to go and coach the Jets. Didn't work out. He's back, but he gets the best out of his team, even when they're missing some players or some of the rookies that he's got in there. So, obviously, I could see it. I could see it happening. The one caveat to these ones, and it's one that I'll reference in the next prop that I have is, and that's the danger of some of these props and betting overs is the fact that if the Rams do get out to a lead, they're just going to try and run the ball if they can run the ball against this Niners, front 6, front 7. If they can, then the Stafford ones go by the wayside. He just, if they try and stack the line, stop the run, then, the short passes to your tight end to Puka Nacua, that comes into it. And that leads me to Puka Nacua, which his receptions, over 8.5 receptions is +115. Unless I'm missing something here, and maybe it's just the makeup of the game once again and how this game could play out. +115 on 8.5 receptions, over 8.5. First 4 games this year, he's had 10, 8, 11, and 13 receptions. He's gone over in three of the 4 games. He's had at least 8 in all 4 games. 50 targets. He's become Stafford's go-to guy. Stafford absolutely loves him. Again, the worry here, and the only worry here is if he has 6 or 7 and they have a big lead, do they pass to him or do they just continue to pound the ball on the ground and run it? But the Nacua one, +115, I'm willing to take it because I'm not laying any VIG over 8.5 receptions.
You got to expect him to come out and have a big day. He looks so great versus the Colts in that last game. 13 receptions are Carm for 170 yards and 1 touchdown. I liked him for his receiving yards as well. Love where you're going with that number. I think your number is fantastic. His receiving yard prop is 95.5, so it is sky high. Be careful with that one, you guys, but I do think he probably hits 100. His anytime touchdown was -105. I was shocked we were getting value on that, and I'm seeing those comments. I need the number for your barber. Absolutely not. I can't shave my head, Carm. Only certain faces can pull that one off.
No, don't listen to him. And Rich, I love Rich H, calling it Beauty and the Beast. I completely confirm that one or whatever as well too. So it's all good. I love these guys in the chat. And if you're not already doing so, please hit that subscribe button and join the community here at WagerTalk. 220,000 subscribers and growing each and every day. We love when you guys tune in to these shows. And Joe, you're doing a fantastic job. And with my last play, Joe, before we bring on the fantastic Sean Alvarez, is Mac Jones over 33.5 pass attempts, -121 currently at DK. He's played in 2 games thus far, 39 pass attempts and 41 pass attempts in the 2 games. And again, this is one of those ones where I see the San Fran game plan as having more obviously more passing than running. If this game gets out of hand, he's going to need to be in there, but he's going to have to be in there for something other than 3-and-outs. 3-and-outs will not get you those pass attempts. Some sustained drives from the Niners, whether it's a short passing game, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, just pitch it to him. Over 33.5, I think, gets there. Again, 39 and 41. I like that number. 34 we need from him to cash that ticket. So that's the third of the three props.
Okay. I love where you're going with all of those props, Carmine. Do you think Mac Jones is going to use CMC in this game in that receiving role again? We know he was a leading receiver in that last game out there. I'm expecting CMC to get some more work on the ground. I can't believe he's actually being utilized more as a receiver out there.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think it's just the problem that faces San Fran tonight, as far as who are the targets going to be. It's going to have to be CMC, but for Mac Jones, but the Rams obviously know that as well too. So let's see if they can game plan for it. Everyone game plans for CMC, but he still gets his numbers. He still gets his yards.
Yes.
So it's got to be him. It's got to be guys like Robinson that get some yards as well too. So we'll see what they get out of these guys. But yeah, even guys like you're looking at, like some of the numbers on some of the guys, like I think it was like Tongs. I can't pronounce his name correctly, but his receptions are like over 2.5 is the number, or 2.5 is the number. So he's got to pass him to someone. We'll see how the game goes, but the Rams are playing extremely well right now. They probably deserve better than 3-1. They probably should be 4-0, if not for a couple blocked punts in that game in Philly. But we'll see what we get from them this week.
Yeah. And one last question, Carm. Someone's asking about the defenses. Which defense do you think has a better night here? Big sis Lisa asking if the 49ers or the Rams defense has a better game. I would have to lean towards the Rams. I trust their defense a heck of a lot more. We know the 49ers have a solid defense against the pass, but can they contain the Rams tonight?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think one of the most important things, first of all, is don't overreact to the opening drives from either team, because they're scripted plays. Those first 15 plays or so are scripted. You see a team go down the field on their first possession, like the Bears did a few games back, and they make it look easy, score a touchdown, and then that's the only touchdown they score all game. It happens. So, and the defense make adjustments. As far as making adjustments, I would have to think that San Fran is best equipped to make those adjustments. Not many injuries on that San Fran defense. You have a very good DC in Salah. He can make those adjustments. Whether they're enough or not, it remains to be seen. I know that's sort of an open kind of answer, but it's just because Stafford has been good this year. He's been very good this season. So, with that said, we shall see. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the number is gotten away from everyone. I think if you're betting 8 or 9 and they win by 14 or 17, I hate to say it, it's not that you made a great bet. You took the worst of the worst number.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and got there. So sometimes closing line value is overrated, but this is one of those ones where if you got it at 3.5, if you laid it early on the Rams, you got the CLV, and you should probably end up getting the win at 3.5. For the sake of my, and I'll give the sign of the cross. For the sake of my survivor in Circa, I'm hoping for a Rams victory.
Okay, we're going to keep our fingers crossed for you with that survivor pick. Everyone knows I went out on Monday night with the New York Jets. Don't ask me why I had faith in them, Carm. I was just on crazy pills, I guess. I want to give a shout out to Third Eye Therapy. He's thanking you, Carm, for those props. You don't even have to tell me how crazy it was. Bet in the Jets as my survivor pick. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had them. I had Miami. I have two of my entries in Circa Survivor. I went 5-0 in both of them,
Nice.
with a couple of different teams on each one, and then 4-1 last week. So it was a good end to the first quarter of the Circa for me, the Circa Millions, after some horrendous beats in the first 2 weeks of the season. Bad breaks. I could throw in a joke about Tyreek Hill, but that's a break I don't want to joke around about because that's such a horrible injury.
It
I
is.
feel bad for Tariq. Um, the football Tariq, I feel bad for the whatever Tariq, not so much, but the football playing Tariq, I feel bad for. That was such a gruesome injury. But with that said, last week was absolutely phenomenal. Last week for me and for my clients that took part in that Weekend Warrior, $49, the Weekend Warrior, and you get all college football plays on Saturday and Sunday, and then NFL on Monday as well too. And you got a 5% winner on the New England Patriots, which was a rocking chair winner. Thankfully, 7-1-1 last week, combined NFL and college football, up almost 25 units, 24.84. And this week, I have three best bets, 4% plays loaded for Sunday in NFL and a 5% play up in college football, which I absolutely love. So the Weekend Warrior is the way to go. $49, that'll get you all the plays. They're up now. So if you purchase that Weekend Warrior on my page, you get those plays right away. And then the rest of my college that I'll load up. And then, of course, Monday night.
Okay, guys, head on over to WagerTalk.com to get Carmine's picks for that Weekend Warrior. Carmine, thank you so much for joining us here to break down this primetime game. We will catch you next week.
All right. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, Carm. Okay, you guys, that was Carmine Bianco coming in here, giving his best bets, his props over in this Thursday night football game. The San Francisco 49ers are taking on the LA Rams. Now, looking at those lines, we are seeing some 7.5s pop up across books as that love is coming in for the 49ers. So make sure you do open your odds logic page to make sure you're getting the best of those lines. I'm still seeing a 7.5 over on FanDuel currently, and that total between 43.5, there's some solid 44s and 44.5s out there. So shop those lines for sure before placing your bets, because I tell you that 1 point, that hook is really going to be beneficial depending on which way you're leaning. But let's bring Sean Alvarez into the show. We're going to see what he's liking in tonight's football matchup. And also, you guys, make sure you drop your questions, your comments in the chat as well. Sean, welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me on. I'm watching the odds logic screen as you and Carmine are talking about the odds, and you're right. I mean, Circa's at 7.5. I saw the 9 that you spoke about, and then I saw it quickly drop back down. So, you hit the nail on the head, especially if you're going to bet, sides and totals. Make sure you're getting the best of the number, and using a service like Odds Logic is a perfect spot because you can see it all in one screen, as opposed to going on your phone and logging into DraftKings and FanDuel and Circa and trying to figure out which is the best number. And when you're doing that, it might move on you anyway. So
absolutely. And it's time consuming, right? To see all of those numbers straight up right in front of you, especially when you're diving into that prop market, because it's not as easy as just, opening that main screen of the NFL once you start diving into that prop market as well. So head on over to oddslogic.com, you guys, to open up that page. And again, drop those questions in the live chat over here on YouTube. And if you're watching on X or Instagram, come on over here. We want to chat with you. Sean, how's things been going in football so far this season for you?
Things are off to a good start. As a bettor, it can turn around at any point, but got to take advantage of the momentum. That I've been lucky enough to have to start the season. I'm up 27 units combined with NFL and college to start the season. Doesn't even include preseason. So things are off to a good start, but you got to stay with the grind and keep up with the work that you're putting in week in and week out. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that momentum keeps going, because things are off to a good start. I went 3-1 in my sides in the NFL last week, and then 2-1 with prop plays on Monday night. So like Carm was saying, go ahead and get that Weekend Warrior package for $49, and make sure that you're getting all of our college football and NFL plays.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to miss out on that. You guys, again, head on over to wagertalk.com to be able to grab those. Okay, let's look at this game here. We're looking at the 49ers, just a huge dog now. Like we said, up to 9 points on some books, 7.5 on others in an NFC West divisional rivalry game here where Kyle Shanahan has got the best of Sean McVay. Do you weigh that into your handicapping at all when you look at this game?
I weigh that in a little bit, but year in and year out, he's doing it, with different teams and different schemes, whether that be offensive or defensive coordinators. So it's kind of, taking it, like with a grain of salt kind of thing. Yeah, it's something that I look at, but it's not necessarily something that I'm going to hang my hat on. And while I'm not necessarily involved with client plays on the side with this line at 7.5 and 8.5, I just think it got a little out of control. We've talked about it in years past, whether it's, within those Nick Saban type Alabama teams, can this Alabama team that's destroying college football teams, can they beat the worst of NFL teams? And I think the majority or the consensus pick on that is absolutely not. The worst NFL team is probably going to crush the best Alabama team in those Saban days. And if you look at the injuries that the Niners have, yes, they're out Brock Purdy, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Purcell, George Kittle. Those are big names to try and fill, but they also still have, obviously, CMC. They've got Brian Robinson behind them, DeMarcus Robinson, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They're in the NFL for a reason, and this is their time to step up, whether that be to impress the San Francisco 49ers coaching staff or other teams, whether that be next year or trade acquisitions at the deadline. So this is their moment to shine kind of thing. It's their moment to step up. And I just think that, especially when we're looking at, -9 in the Rams, I just think that's getting a little out of control as far as getting involved with the side.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially when those look ahead lines were sitting at a 3.5 and then moving that 5.5. You have missed the best of the numbers. If you got the 5.5, do you think it would be a position for people then to come back in on the 49ers and hope this one lands in between, or would you just stay off it?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily much of a middle player, but if you're getting that big of a gap, or even if you started at that 3.5 or got involved in the 4s, you're getting a bigger gap there. But yeah, I'm not much of a middle player. I'd like to get involved if I can obviously get kind of more of that free bet in that big of a gap. But yeah, I didn't get involved in that line earlier, and so I'm going to stay away at that bigger line. But if you're getting that 3 or even a 4-point gap, I think it might be worth it to take a shot. But with that being said, you're still hoping that this San Francisco 49ers kind of second team offense can keep up with the likes of Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and the Rams. So if I can get a free bet, yeah, I'll take a shot. But yeah, if I'm sitting there with a great number, I think I'm just going to sit with that 5.5 in my pocket on the Rams, root for Carmine's circa survivor pick to get through, and maybe cash a couple props.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Carmine as well. If you guys think Carmine's circa pick is going down the drain and the 49ers are going to pull off that upset, I am seeing up to plus 350 on some books, Sean, but I can't see it happening out there. I think this is one where the Rams do get another win, taking their record even better. It is a shame that they lost that one game to the Eagles with that blocked field goal, but let's jump into some of those props you are liking. What's the first prop you want to throw at us?
Yeah, so you guys kind of spoke about it just as far as how at least I handicapped how the game's going to play out. And with, the backups for the 49ers and how talented the Rams offense is, I can absolutely see them getting ahead early and not necessarily looking at backups, but, we're talking about all these injuries going down, whether, it's George Kittle, whether it's all these other offensive players, Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson. I think, obviously the Rams want to come away with the win, but coming away healthy, I think is just as important as long as this NFL season is, and how, you want to be healthy at the right time. So we've seen Blake Corum, the backup running back for the Rams, get a little bit more of the load share of carries in this offense. We saw him get 9 carries last week compared to the 13 carries for the starter. And if they start getting out ahead early, I think that we can see them going to Blake Corum, especially in goal line type carries. And he can also spring one a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go Blake Corum, anytime touchdown. I saw it at plus 300. He already has one goal line touchdown against the Titans this season. So I definitely think the Rams want to see him utilized a little bit more in the offense. But as far as the game, how it's, how I handicapped it going, if the Rams get out ahead of in a lead, I don't think they want to see some of their, at least their starters get hurt. And so I think we can see Blake Corum get a little bit more of carries, but he's also a little, dangerous out of the backfield when he catches a ball in space. So I'm going to go Blake Corum, anytime touchdown at plus 300.
Oh, you got to love that plus money for Blake Corum. And I think it's a great way to go, especially when we look at how you're looking for the game plan to lay out. And we look at Davante Adams. He has had the majority of the looks in the red zone, but we know he's not 100% with that hamstring. So if we're going to see that running game, Blake Corum, definitely a solid way to look there. But when you look at Davante Adams, I can't believe that he's still playing this game. I thought they probably would have taken him out because we do have so many injuries on the 49ers, but he's had 9 red zone targets in the last 3 games, and you're getting more and more plus money as the day goes on Davante Adams, which means for me, stay off it. What do you think when you start to see these players start to go up?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, you kind of hit the nail on the head with as far as Davante Adams goes. He was kind of limited in practice. The coach and the media were kind of hinting at, well, it's more veteran rest. It's, second game in 5 days, but a hamstring injury is nagging. You don't want to send him deep downfield. Yeah, he'll probably get a bulk of, those red zone type targets because, he doesn't have to fire as far off the line. He's not going to run 30, 40 yard, go routes to try and get behind the secondary. But I do agree with you. I think that we're going to see, maybe limited snap counts for Davante Adams. You just don't want, the last thing you want is for him to get hurt in the third quarter when you're nursing a 17-point lead. And then all of a sudden it's affecting you down the line and down the season when you really need him. Obviously, I don't mean to keep harping on it, but when you look at the line at -9, I don't think, Sean McVay and the Rams coaching staff is necessarily going out there and saying, hey, we really need Davante Adams to have 2 touchdowns, 90 yards. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He'll be just fine throughout the season. So let's kind of nurse him along. And I'm definitely on the page with you. I'm staying away from Davante Adams props. I just think he's going to be slightly limited in snap counts tonight.
Okay, I'm with you there. Matt Stafford, I know you have a prop on him. He's playing great. 92 of 136 attempts for 1,114 yards thus far on the season. 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has been sacked 8 times so far. Where are you going with some Matt Stafford props for us?
So very similar. I'm gonna play the prop that's going to play well with how I handicap the game. And I do believe that the Rams are going to crush this 49ers team. So you look at, Matt Stafford and his pass attempts, he's averaging 34 right on the dot. They're giving us a 33.5 as far as the prop goes. So I'm going to go under there. I just said that I think Blake Corum's going to be utilized a little bit more in the running game. So I do believe that they're going to hand the ball off, obviously early in the game to try and establish more of a balanced offensive attack. But I also think that they're going to try and get Corum into the game and into this offense a little bit more, mainly to try and, improve their offense down the line where they can be a little bit more of that balanced attack and have that 1-2 punch. And then on top of that, if they're up 17 points in the fourth quarter, I can absolutely see taking Stafford out of the game. The last thing you want to do is see him get hurt. So I'm going to play the under 33.5 pass attempts on Matt Stafford, and I currently got it at -117. I'm sorry, 32.5 pass attempts.
I like it, Sean. I think that's a great way to go with Matt Stafford. One thing to note, you guys, on Matt Stafford, and when I talk about these trends, you have to weigh it against, teams were healthier. But Matt Stafford, 3-8 record versus the 49ers in his career. That's been against super healthy 49ers teams. I do think he still has success here, but I could see those pass attempts not coming in. 32.5 is such a high number. And I don't think he's going to need to sling the ball left, right, and center unless Mac Jones pulls something out and we see the 49ers keep this one competitive. That's the only way that I can see Matt Stafford going over this number. But it's going to be a great game tonight. Any look-ahead situations that you have for Sunday that you've got circled that you think maybe lines will move and we want to jump on them now?
I mean, kind of one of those things that, first jumped out at me, and, it's a drastically different thought from when I first started gambling, especially on the NFL to now is that -4.5, and I'm seeing 3.5s out there on the Eagles at home against Denver. It just screams it's way too low. And there was one of those where when I first saw it, or, when I first started gambling, that's one of those where I would just jump on it. It's got to keep going higher, but it's there for a reason. I think the Eagles are impressive as far as how they've played. Obviously, they got a little bit lucky against the Rams with the blocked field goal, but I'm not as high on how Denver's played throughout the year. I was pretty high on them early in the season. I thought that they could be a sneaky team in that Western Conference, but I just thought that line was too low. But it's one of those that, it's that fishy line that we always talk about. And I'm just going to have to dive deeper under that hood on why that line is 4.5 or even 3.5s out there. I'm not even seeing a 3. So that's kind of one that stuck out to me. The only other one that kind of leaps out that I'm not sure if I'm going to get there is I did really like the Indianapolis Colts coming into the season. I thought they just had to get mediocre or competent play from Daniel Jones at quarterback, and that was a big if. But Daniel Jones is playing well. I'm just not sure that they warrant laying 7 points, even to the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to very slowly get better, but I'm just not sure if they're a good enough team to lay that 7. So those are two that really stuck out to me, and I'm going to dive a little bit deeper and see if they make my card.
I love where you're going there. As long as Geno Smith doesn't turn that ball over another 3 times this Sunday, then the Raiders can't hang tight, because Max Crosby, absolute beast mode. He's going to be all over Daniel Jones. And I'm still not sure if I'm a buyer or a seller on Daniel Jones this season. He has looked phenomenal. But Sean, you are part of the Weekend Warrior. You've been absolutely crushing it. So people can head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab that Weekend Warrior package. How many picks on average do you think you put out for your Saturday and Sundays? And then you've got those bonus Monday plays. What do you think? A handful of picks for this weekend?
Generally, if you're talking sides and totals for a regular Saturday or Sunday, I'm generally putting out 4 to 6 plays in college football, anywhere between 3 and 5, more 3 and 4 for NFL football side and plays. And then if I don't like a side or a total for Thursday night, Sunday night, or Monday night football, I try to put in some props there, and plus money on the winning end on my props as well. I'm up 27 units if you combine college and NFL. So, like Joe said, it's a perfect time to go take advantage of that $49 deal for our Weekend Warriors. You're already getting a discount on just the Saturday and Sunday side and total plays, and then you're just getting a little bit of a boost for some prop plays Sunday and Monday night.
Absolutely. Sean, I wish you all the best in all of your bets tonight. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Primetime Preview.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and best of luck to your bets and Carmine's Survivor pick.
Thank you so much, Sean. Have a great night. Okay, you guys, that was Sean Alvarez. Head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab all of his picks as well as Carmine Bianco's picks. And again, don't forget about that Weekend Warrior package. You want to make sure you jump on it over at WagerTalk.com. It will get you the handicapper of your choices. Saturday and Sunday football plays. So that's college football and NFL. And then they're going to throw in Monday's plays as well. And like Sean Alvarez said, he normally has 4 to 6 for college football, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 for the NFL. And he does make sure he puts out some props if he doesn't have a side or a total for those Monday games. I want to go over quickly a couple of bets that I'm liking in this Thursday night football game before I send you guys on your way. But while you're here, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe and notification button over on YouTube so that you guys do know when these shows go live and you don't miss out on any of the great free content over here on YouTube. And if you're watching on other social media, make sure you do share the show and drop below this video who you're liking for a touchdown tonight, who you're liking for those receiving yards, and which team you think is going to be able to get the win. If you think the Rams are covering that spread, or if the 49ers can stay competitive in this one, even though they're dealing with so many injuries. I've got a couple of props that I love tonight. I'm looking at Davis Allen. No one's talked about Davis Allen yet so far on the show. He's a tight end here for the LA Rams, and I think he's going to be able to get those looks in the red zone. When we look at Davis Allen, his anytime touchdown, you guys know I love plus money. It's coming in at plus 430. Now, when we look at him, he's being held off the board, wasn't able to get a tutty in week 3 or week 4, but we did see him in week 1 and week 2 get those looks in the red zone and get those touchdowns on the board. I think he's in for another night here as Matt Stafford has some short passes off to him and targets him in the red zone. So I will look at that. And especially when you look at the 49ers, they've already allowed 3 touchdowns to the tight end position thus far on the season. They're just not great at defending that position. And we know tight ends have been lighting things up across the league, you guys. So give me Davis Allen with that great plus money. I know for the first touchdown of the night, he was plus 2,700. So if you want to look at the first touchdown, I won't get greedy. I'll take the plus money on the plus 430. I also wanted to quickly talk here about the defensive props that I'm looking at in this one. I do think Matt Stafford will throw an interception tonight. I talked about him and I talked about his success, and he has been having a great season, but he has thrown 2 interceptions. He's also been sacked 8 times thus far on the season, and that worries me for him out there. I do think also his record against the 49ers, even though should be able to come away with the win, I think he makes a couple of mistakes tonight. Now, that anytime interception coming in at plus 115 for Matt Stafford, it will break the streak here for the 49ers not being able to get those interceptions on the season. Actually, on the last 11 games, it's been 11 games straight with no interceptions. But if anyone is going to get that interception, I'm just trying to bring up the odds here. It's Fred Warner for me. He's plus 850 now. He was plus 800 earlier in the day. That's not a big bet, you guys, for Fred Warner to record that interception, but I am taking Matt Stafford to throw it. So I had to look at a defensive player for a little sprinkle here at plus 850. Definitely worth a shot for Fred Warner to be able to get there. Remember a couple of seasons ago, Fred Warner had that hit on Matt Stafford. He apologized after, thinking it was a little dirty himself, but there is that history between them. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here for Primetime Preview. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you can hit that like, hit that subscribe and notification button on YouTube, that will do me a huge favor. But you guys, all the best in all your bets. Good luck in this Thursday night football game. We'll be back for your Primetime Preview Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern to break that game down. You guys, until then, stay hot and let's make some freaking money.